Welcome to another edition of Straight Shooting Sports Talk, and I'm your host, Dujane Bland, and today we're talking about the NFL, and we're talking about several topics in the NFL, but first we're going to take a look around the league, and we're in preseason week 2, and a lot of great things are happening in the league. Some surprise things happening on these teams. If you look at the Cleveland Browns, I think Norv Turner is doing an excellent job with that football team. Looks like Gordon and Cameron are benefiting very well. And Brandon Wheaton, his talents are able to be found as this offense seems to be fit just for him. I mean, as Mr. Warren Sapp is saying, this guy is dropping dimes out there on that football field. He looks really good. And we said this in the offseason when we talked about the Cleveland Browns as we went through the NFC North. Brandon Wheaton's not a bad quarterback. It's not his fault. Receivers weren't doing their job, but you can see what's going on when this team's in sync. Look at the Seattle Seahawks. Looks like they're picking up right where they left off. The defense looks fast. They look hungry. They just swarm everywhere. Russell Wilson's being Russell Wilson. Everybody looks great. They could have the same season that they had last year. Just have to wait and see. Also, we look at the New York Jets and the circus that is, but kind of looks like Mark Sanchez could actually win this job. I mean, he looked pretty crisp. Well, Sanchez-like, and not the bad Sanchez, this past weekend. Also around the league, we look at the Atlanta Falcons. We know what they can do on offense. We know that they went out and got Steven Jackson, who most say is coming towards the end of his career. But I think it's a great situation for him. He's going to do and work wonders for them as far as getting quality rushing yards and getting those touchdowns. He can't break the long ones, but that's really not what we're looking for. We're looking for pound and ground. And that's what they want. But on defense, we know they addressed that this offseason. And you got to have a pass rush if you want your back half to be able to cover and look well. And if they don't get pass rush, they're going to get gutted up just like they did against the Baltimore Ravens in that preseason game. But overall, it's been fun. It's been really fun watching football 2 weeks into the preseason. Now we're going to focus on a little bit that's been going on in the NFL, and that's injuries. We heard about Wright. We have Keller. We had Jeremy Maclin for the Eagles earlier. And focusing on the Keller injury, we know that the NFL has changed a lot as far as being really ticky-tack when it comes to tackling and the helmet-to-helmet contact. As every analyst has said across the board, talking about the NFL, no one wants to see someone spear someone with a helmet. It's dangerous, and no one wants that. The problem is that we have those hits where we're making contact with the chest. It's a quick bang-bang play, and guy slides up, hits guy in the chin. He's getting fined. Guys are tired of being fined. And the young guys, being that we have this rookie wage scale, they don't want to be fined. They're not making that big contract just yet. So they don't want to lose any money. And we're talking about with Keller, they're being taught to hit in a range somewhere in here. And sometimes you're going to get hit low. And because they want to protect themselves from being fined. I understand that. I totally understand that. Some may feel that Swearinger's hit was a little bit of a cheap shot. Now, we've seen that time and time again. Guy catches the ball and is not looking. As he turns around, he gets hit in the legs, and he's helicoptered all over the place. And we're like, ooh! And he gets up and walks away. But this time, Dustin Keller's foot was planted, and it was a catastrophe. And hopefully, it's not career-ending for the guy. Now, are we seeing an unusual amount of injuries? Probably not. I think this could happen at any time. Keller's injury could have happened at any time. It is a little bit to do with the fact that have changed the way that we are hitting guys out there on the football field. And guys are scared to get fined, so they're hitting lower. I think this is a place where the NFL needs to watch more carefully and get a more distinctive gauge on what is legal and what is illegal. Guys are getting fined for things that you have an action and reaction in football. You can't think about it. You have to make the play. Sometimes guys slide up and their helmets make contact. Sometimes the guy gets a little low and the defender is already low and they make contact. There was no purposeful helmet-to-helmet contact there. It's just part of the game. It's a reaction. It's unfortunate. We're going to see it. It's going to affect your fantasy football team as it's going to affect mine. For sure. It already has. So it's just something we're going to have to deal with and hope that it doesn't get your team and that injury bug goes hog wild and hurts your season. Now we're going to move on to the Philadelphia Eagles and Chip Kelly's not wanting to name a quarterback at all. Maybe not until week 1 of the regular season. And I think we've heard it time and time again. It's very important for a locker room to know who their quarterback is going into the season. It's a guy they can rally around. That quarterback can assert himself as a leader, show his leadership skills, and show his guys that he can lead them into battle. If you don't have a named starter, neither one of these guys really know if they're going to be the starter. And the team doesn't respond to them the way they should because they're not sure if that guy's going to be there. I mean, Nick Foles, for example, you would think, and most of us think that Michael Vick is probably going to be the starter because he fits that offense and what Chip Kelly is trying to do. But it is still a toss-up. There's pros and cons between them both. Now, if Nick Foles goes out there and tries to assert himself, most people aren't really inclined, or most of them probably won't listen to him as they would Michael Vick. But it could be vice versa. Now you have a locker room that is divided. Something that you really can't have when you have new offense, new defense, new playbook. Guys have to be cohesive in order for you to have success early in the season. I think this is a bad idea for Chip Kelly to not name a starter. And then maybe he already knows who the starter is going to be, and maybe they know who the starter is going to be, and they're just not telling the media. Who knows? But the fact is, this can't be good for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially when this team has defensive problems. They need Pepto-Bismol on defense because it's as if they have diarrhea. So, Chip, it would be cohesive for you to name a starter, get that going, so at least you can be like the Patriots were of the past and try to outscore people. That's all I can say. Well, that's it for our NFL show. We thank you for tuning in. And as always, if you have any comments, please leave them at the bottom of our show, and we'll be glad to keep that conversation going. If there's a topic you'd like for us to discuss, whether it's about your team, whether it's about a topic that's just simply going on in sports, or something that we think or want to hear our take on something that you want to hear about, please send us an email to straightshootingst@gmail.com. And as always, subscribe to the show. You've been watching another edition of Straight Shooting Sports Talk.